Hello, welcome to this your channel, the Eurofan. That's me. Latvia is still not getting out of the back strike in the competition, although the last time they were closer to being in the grand final. The singular proposal offered to us by the guys at Southern Lights in last year's contest was masterly executed, but they were left behind after placing 11th, which was quite unfair in my opinion. Even so, the Baltic country moves forward, hoping to finally break the disqualification streak at the contest. We will see now that the next artist will have the occasion of waving the Latvian colors some more. Here we go. For today's episode, I'm going to review the Latvian entry for Eurovision 2024, which will be represented by singer Dons with the song Hollow. We start by taking a look to his biography and career before him embarking in his Eurovision adventure in the Scandinavian country. Arthur Singire is mostly well known as Dons. It's a Latvian pop rock singer from Belarusian father and Latvian mother, coming from the town of Roseni located on western Latvia. He starts to get involved in music since very early age, singing and taking piano classes. He will have his very first performance at the age of 16 where in the high school where he was studying, and from that experience he realized seriously on having a career in music. Although he has been studying culinary arts for some time, he will eventually drop on it to finally pursue a musical career, also by learning to play guitar in a self-taught way. He will start to get noticed in 2003 with his participation in the reality show Talentu Fabrica, which in English literally translates as Talent Factory. After his participation, he will release a duet album with fellow contestant Lina Kalniņa. Although the album was successful in Latvia, he will later focus to pursue a solo career. His debut studio album will be out in 2006, with compositions mostly in English and a few ones in Latin. Then he will be living abroad together with Linda between London and Los Angeles, who was his muse and inspiration for his musical work according to himself. During that time, he has been adopting and discarding many stage names, until he ended up dismissing them all, and ultimately opting for the one he used in Latvia since ever. Dons will be his stage name from now on. In 2008, he will release his second studio album, the first one fully in Latin. With this release, he will achieve 2 prestigious awards in his country, in addition to achieving a very good performance in the musical charts, which will lead him to try his musical work in Latvian instead. He will also participate that same year at the New Wave Musical Festival, representing Latvia, in which he placed 4th. Then in 2009, he will marry Linda, and thereafter he will participate in a television series produced by the Latvian public broadcaster, where together with other 4 well-known personalities on Latvia will explore many places in India. At the end of the series, Dons will stay in India much longer for purposes of soul-searching and meditation. He will return to Latvia for a short time in 2010 in a first attempt to represent his country at Eurovision, participating in the then national final ESC. He participated with the song My Religion is Freedom, with which he was quite close to victory after placing 2nd. While singer Aisha was the winner that time, being a Latvian representative that traveled to Oslo, Norway. After that participation, Dons will go back to India. In 2012, he will make another return to Latvia for a longer time, with the goal of reviving his musical career with the release of his third studio album, with which he will get several awards for this musical work. The following year will have its ups and downs for him. In one hand, he participated as a dubbing actor on the Latvian version of the animated film Frozen, and he will also go back to his origins by participating as a judge in the reality show Talentu Fabrica, which in English literally translates as New Talent Factory, in which he will be the coach for the then novice artist Aminata Savador, who will end up winning the show, and who will later help to produce her first songs. But on the other hand, his relationship with Linda ended after 4 years of marriage. Their divorcing father will be the inspiration behind the song Pedeja Vestule, which in English translates as Last Letter, and that will also be the lead single of his upcoming fourth studio album that he will release in 2014. That year, by the way, he will attempt again to represent Latvia at Eurovision, participating in the then national final this month with the same song, although it was dedicated to his ex-wife, as I have mentioned before. He commented that in case of winning, he will perform a rewritten version of the song by himself in English for the contest, by dedicating it to his father who passed away in 2007. However, he will place second again, with the girl Arseniaki having the victory 10 times to the surprise of many, being then the Latvian representatives 10 times during the competition held on Copenhagen, Denmark. Despite not winning on both the song and the album were quite successful, which led him to do an extensive tour throughout Latvia. Inspired by that success, he embarked on a trip by the Trans-Siberian train by traveling throughout Russia to later fly to New Delhi in India, and finally take a train to Varanasi, with the goal of drawing inspiration from that long travel for his fifth studio album released during 2015. The release will follow the success of his predecessor, receiving more awards for this musical work. Also during that year, Tons will participate as a judge in the then new and now current Latvian national final Supernova, in which casually his pupil Laminata won, which would represent Latvia at the contest during that year, in the competition held on Vienna, Austria, where she got a respectable 6th place. In the following years, 3 more albums will come, which would consolidate him as an artist in his native country. By 2021, after many years by pursuing his musical career independently, he will finally sign a record deal with a renowned worldwide record label. He will be releasing more singles in the following 2 years, until in late last year he announced the preparation of his 9th studio album, the first he will release under his current record label. It is true that Dance has had a quite prolific career in his native country, having several acknowledgements for his musical work, and for the authenticity of his emotions every time he performed his songs live, which had led him to keep a strong connection with his fans. However, outside the musical scene in Latvia, he is pretty unknown in the rest of Europe, although he has been close to reach a bigger audience twice. He has not lost the possibility of doing it through Eurovision, deciding to try it again at Supernova. Let's see how resulted his third attempt in the Latvian national final. As usual, the Latvian public broadcaster will organize what it went to be the 9th edition of their national final Supernova, to pick the Latvian representative that will travel to Sweden. First, a submission period would open on last September of last year for the Latvian artists and songwriters who wanted to send their proposals, closing it by late November. After the deadline, it was revealed that 108 proposals were received according to the broadcaster. Then the selection process of the received proposals will come, with an expert panel composed of Latvian and foreign music and TV professionals, selecting the 15 ones that will participate in the national final. The announcement of the contestants will be made on early last January, with Dance among the selected artists, while the format will remain the same without further changes. Dance will perform for the very first time in the semi-final, being one of the 10 artists that will qualify to the final show. During that final show, which took place on last mid-February, after the performances of all the finalists, the final result, as it usually happens, was unanimous, but the jury and the public brought their maximum scores to Dance, confirming the initial favoritism towards him before the national final, therefore gaining after 3 attempts the right of representing Latvia on the main stage of MOM. a song which talks about emptiness. Before anything, it is to remark that this song was originally written in his native language, Latvian, named Laustos Skiepu Karavalsts, which in English translates as Kingdom of Broken Spears. Although he has released it as a single during last year, he will later translate it to the English ahead of his participation at Supernova, the Latvian national final for the contest. This English version, which has a different meaning and message unlike the original version in Latvian, is the one I'm going to analyze up next. The melody is a pop ballad with elements of soft rock, where the main instrument is the piano. Vocally speaking, Dons has a really good voice. And particularly in this song, he's injecting it with drama, especially in the chorus where it's the big point of the performance. The lyrics have been written by himself together with other two songwriters. About the context behind the lyrics, according to Dons himself, it explores our own insecurities and how they can hold us hostage, while other people are trying to dictate how we should live our lives, appealing in this case to the hope as the way to overcome those insecurities. This is perceived by reading the lyrics in detail, realizing his desperation and suffering during the process, while the chorus make reference both to people who call themselves preachers and the philosophy they preach like something empty, hollow, matching with the song's title. You can also link it with people that attempt to impose a doctrine, no matter if it is harmful to us, taking advantage precisely of the emotions and insecurities from the people. I will say that the message is focused on our resilience abilities when facing a situation of mental and emotional instability. And if it is not strong enough for some reason, it is important to seek the help needed from the right people, so we can release somehow of the loss from our insecurities to move forward. Having seen more about the song, let's see how does he presents the song's topic through the official music video. The plot begins with Don seen from behind in a sort of abandoned hall, while a hand is trying to reach him by behind. The shot reaches to the front while he starts to perform the first verse. Another hand is seen approaching his face by the right side, and suddenly this hand takes him back by his forehead, and later he is seen dragging on his back through a gravel soil. By the chorus, when he sits up and turns around, there are some men with blue uniforms like the one worn by Dons himself, with a gravel mountain behind all of them. In some instant, the show goes back to him, who will be supposedly on the soil yet, but this time it's a different man. The show goes back again towards the man, and turns out that Jones is among them. Okay, it is clear that they made a switch while we were not watching by the camera. In the second verse, Jones is seen running through the gravel mountains, with the man running after him, with some of them falling down the way. He attempts to climb one of the gravel mountains, but the men get to grab him by his back, preventing to get up to the top. What I'm perceiving here is that all what is happening here, it's a representation of what happens on his mind. Those men will symbolize his insecurities in some way, and while he attempts to get out of that follow where he feels trapped in, they do not let him do it. There are alternate shots of Dons in the abandoned hall, with the man grabbing him by behind, and of himself of many other men half buried on the grave. During the second chorus, there are some shots which raises curiosity. The first one of them with Dons floating on the air, the second one with him looking to the sky, while the men are surrounding him being them on their backs, and a third one with himself half buried on the gravel, while the men are unconscious or faint on the grave. This will symbolize that sensation of feeling trapped by his insecurities who do not let him move forward. By the bridge, there are more of the shots previously seen before, and then towards the end of the performance, the crowd of men are seen from behind taking Dons from his back. But while the shot moves to the front and then looks back, now all the men have disappeared. Here's when he manages to get rid of his insecurities. After having listened to the song and having seen the concept develop into music video, only is left to see how he has thought out his proposal ahead of his participation as Supernova. Recalling the stage in international final, the performance was focused on dons at the center of the stage, surrounded by white smoke, which are complemented with thick clouds and lightning in the visual graphics, and lighting with blue tones. Dons is wearing in this case the same outfit he used in the music video. Seeing him like this gives the impression of him being an ex-inmate would suddenly gain that to sing. During the performance he barely moves, appealing mostly to the expressiveness in his face, especially in his eyes. In the second chorus the lightning changed to white, having warm tones during the bridge, finishing later the performance with almost no lightning on the stage. In this case he opted for a pretty simple staging, with the focus exclusively on his vocal performance, which has been flawless and perfect, evidently gaining the massive support from the jury and the public. Making a summary of all the comments, the Latvian entry for this year is not bad. I cannot deny that he defends it pretty well and that he transmits pure emotion on the stage, but I have the feeling that it is going pretty unnoticed, and maybe so will think the same as me. So right now it is uncertain how the audience would react to it. For the staging in Malmö, I guess he will follow the same trend he used in the national final. At most, he can make more use of the visual graphics and the lightning to generate more impact, as beyond from that it could be seen overloaded. On the other hand, it is also known that he will be promoting his entry on the Eurovision pre-parties of the season, ahead of his participation at the contest. In fact, his Eurovision adventure has led him to postpone the release of his upcoming studio album, which was scheduled for next April, and that now will be for August of this year, keeping the cycles he usually takes in his career, while he is performing at concerts. He does not work at the recording studio and vice versa. In the meanwhile, we will see how he finally presents his proposal on the main stage of Malmö. And you, what do you think about the Latvian entry for this year? Leave your comments down below to start the discussion. And this is it for today's episode. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel if you have not done it yet, hit the bell to enable notifications, and follow me through my social media. Take care and see you in the next episode. Bye bye.